In an exclusive interview to NDTV, Yair Lapid, former Prime Minister of Israel and currently the leader of the opposition, explains the magnitude of the war and the impact on larger geopolitics. Thank you very much for speaking to us, sir, at a difficult time like this.
Thank you, Vasudha. I'm talking to you in between sirens here in Tel Aviv, so I hope we will not be interrupted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We understand. You've been to you went to the hospital in the morning, and thank you very much for this world exclusive. We know it's a full-blown war, sir. The number of deaths is huge, and equally tragic is the hostage situation. And you've already, reportedly discussed the possibilities of an emergency government with the Israeli Prime Minister. What do you think Israel's response should be in a situation like this, both for the time being and also the long term?
Well, I think everybody understands the most urgent thing is to make sure we deny Hamas of these capabilities and make sure they will never have again an opportunity to massacre women and children and the elderly as they did just a couple of days ago. And this will be, as the Prime Minister said, difficult and hard, and we have to be patient about it. But there's going to be a military operation. Incursion is not out of the question, because we have to make sure this will never happen again. You know, in the proportion for the size of the population between Israel and India, assume there was a terror attack in which, I don't know, 200,000 to 300,000 Indians died in the same day. So this is what we have been suffering now. This is the blow that we suffered, and we have to make sure this will never happen again, and we're going to join forces and make sure this will never happen again.
Mr. Lapid, how will an emergency government strengthen or sharpen Israel's response at a time like this?
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen. I offered the Prime Minister the possibility. We've discussed this. Nobody cares about politics right now, and and it doesn't matter. I will do everything in my power, me, my party, everybody in the opposition, to support the forces, to support our troops, to support the government, because this is something that is bigger than daily politics. So I don't know yet how it's going to be played, and truthfully, I don't care. The only thing I care about is just to make sure we have so many people in captivity and we want to see them back, and we have to make sure, as I said, that we'll deny Hamas of further capabilities in order to make sure this will never happen again. This is the only thing that is really important these days.
Right, Mr. Lapid. You know, it's not just the Hamas now, because we know that Hezbollah is also a central player in what happens, next regarding Israel. And you have this Islamic Jihad chief who has also said that his faction has been holding captive more than 30 Israelis. So there are also groups, Palestinian groups, which have called for escalation. So clearly, it's not just one homogeneous group that Israel is dealing with. So how do you see this kind of challenge?
Well, first of all, they should know that we were caught by surprise once. We will not be caught by surprise twice. We are now ready and prepared, and the Israeli Defense Forces are there all over the place, and we're going to make sure this will not happen again. Now, and you have mentioned Hezbollah, and you have mentioned the Islamic Jihad, but we also have to mention the fact that Iran is behind a lot of what is going on here, and they are accountable to what is going here. So what we're going to do is just we're going to make sure everybody understands that the reaction will be devastating to whoever is going to try and hurt our people once again.
Right. Mr. Lapid, the symbolism of the timing of the attack is something that has been flagged by many, and several people have said that this has brought back memories of the Yom Kippur War 50 years ago that, in a way, reset equations in West Asia forever. Already, some Arab countries have also taken sides. So how do you think this is going to impact the larger geopolitical context, especially in West Asia? And I know this is too early to ask this question, but what are your thoughts, sir?
Well, I think it's a painful reminder to the fact that global terror is everybody's enemy. We have all suffered from it. We know, I mean, there is no negotiation with terror. We have to just make sure that we have the abilities to join forces and fight global terrorism. And this is an opportunity for me to thank President Modi and his government for the support they have showed to Israel throughout these horrible couple of days and last occasion. So we just have to remember there's no negotiation with terrorists. There's no reasoning with terrorists. The only thing you can do with terrorists is just make sure they don't have the capabilities and to kill the innocent. And so this is right now the best geopolitical conclusion I can bring to the table.
Right, sir. So, when you talk about the United States, we know that U.S. has condemned the attack by Hamas and is moving even warships closer to Israel. In India, we had a Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. He had a very quick and unambiguous response in condemning the terror attack, and he has also expressed solidarity with Israel. What are your expectations from allies?
Well, as I was saying, this is going to be long and painful. And we're going to, as I said, we're going to attack Gaza because Hamas is in Gaza. And we're going to do our best to avoid the killing of bystanders and collateral damage. But there will be a collateral damage because this is war in a very dense area. And it is, I assume, easy to be supportive of Israel today when all you see is the bodies of innocent Israelis piling. But we will need the support of our friends and the good memory of our friends. Why is this events happening, and why is it that Israel has to respond so harshly in the coming days? And when all the hard-bleeding so-called liberals will come over and say, well, you see, you have to stop this, we will need the support of the people who are saying, yes, we will stop this when Hamas is beaten, not a second before that.
Right, sir. So there are also other significant factors such as Iran, something that you talked about, but Israel government has also been making efforts at resettlement. We saw the protests during judicial reforms. Israel's domestic politics is also something that's emerging as an important factor. Would you agree that this attack comes at a very critical time for your country?
Yes, but I would be careful about the linkage between the issues because this brings some sort, I know you don't intend to do so, but this becomes some sort of a reasoning to this terror attack. The only reason they attack women, children, and the elderly is because they can and because they want to kill Jews. I am the son of a Holocaust survivor. We know anti-Semitism when we see one. They are killing us because they can and because they want to. They will use opportunities. I assume that you're right, that they saw the dynamics of Israeli democracy, which are always very vibrant, and felt that this is an opportunity. But the reason they did this is not because of Israeli politics, it's not because of the kind of arguments we are having right now. It's because they have planned for this and they saw a window of opportunity to kill as many Israelis as possible.
Right, sir. So when you talk about the attacks, tell us how different was this incursion from incidents that have happened in the past? And would you agree that the country was in a way blindsided by the attack that seems to have been a work in progress for many months?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, yes. I mean, of course, we have a huge intelligence failure on our hands, and we will deal with it after we will deal with the more urgent thing we need to deal with, which is making sure we are taking their capabilities from them. This was a surprise attack, no way of hiding from it, and we have a good history of being able to learn from mistakes instead of just agonizing over them, and this is what we're going to do next. But right now we are very focused on one thing, is, as I was saying in the beginning of this interview, there are sirens here in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem all over the country, and we are still having fights in the southern streets of our cities and villages. So this is what we're dealing with right now. Right,
sir. And we also saw pictures of you in a hospital today morning. How bad is the situation on ground, sir?
Yeah, I saw the picture. I mean, not the picture you have now, but 2 pictures ago, is me talking to one of the doctors, the guy who was leaning on this guy. So I came to him and we talked. I said, "You're probably tired." He said, "Yes, I've been awake for 2 days." And I said, "And you're dealing with so many people who are wounded and injured." And he said, "Yes, but the problem is my son is one of them. His son is a soldier and he took 2 bullets. And he was unconscious at the time." And in a way, this is how we all feel. I mean, you have to disattach yourself emotionally in order to be able to be functional, to function. But then you go back and forth from worrying about your own children and worrying about the entire country. So these are emotional times for everybody.
Right, sir. You know, the visuals have been really shocking over the weekend, but, you know, how do you see the prospects of a war out of this that doesn't impact civilians in Gaza as well as in Israel?
Well, this is going to be difficult, and as I was saying, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. And the people of Gaza should do their best to disattach themselves and go as further as they can from Hamas facilities and from Hamas people, because we're going to be there hunting them. Listen, we unlike them, we are doing our best to avoid collateral damage and to avoid hurting or wounding or killing civilians. But war is war. You know, last August, when I was still Prime Minister, we had an operation in Gaza. I personally postponed it 3 times because people said we have children playing on the outskirts of the place we want to hit. And I said, okay, we're going to postpone because we don't want to hit children. We don't want to hit the elderly. We don't want to hit civilians. So it's in the best interest of every civilian in Gaza to make sure that they disattach themselves and go as further as they can from Hamas facilities and Hamas soldiers. Right, I don't want to call them soldiers, Hamas terrorists.
Right. So one last question. There was also no unanimity at the UN yesterday on the resolution of the conflict. Do you see the global community coming together on one page on this issue?
Well, they should. We need now the support of the global community in what we need to do in order to protect our citizens. And as I was saying, and as the Prime Minister was saying, and everybody in his right mind, people understand this is going to be difficult. And this is going to be difficult because Hamas is rooted into Gaza. People tend to forget the fact that we have left Gaza, I don't know, almost 20 years ago, and told them, you know, you should build a life for yourself, you should build an economy, you should build a future for your children. And instead they build training camps for Hamas and Islamic Jihad, and up until this moment, in the last couple of decades, fired more than 25,000 rockets and missiles over Israeli citizens. So right now, what we need is the global community's support and patience, because we're going to deal with it, and we're going to make sure Hamas is denied of these capabilities.
Right, sir. So we hear the bombings are still on. Please be safe, and thank you very much for speaking to NDTV.
Thank
so that
you so
was
much
Israel's opposition leader, Mr. Yair Lapid, talking to NDTV on a world exclusive.